morning and welcome to FTx webinar. This is a weekly event we do every Friday at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, where we go over various topics of the FTx software. You can see a list of all these events if you go to our website, FTx.com. Choose the FTx Lifeline tab at the top of the screen. Navigate to the webinar button. Choose that, and that will bring up a listing of all of our webinars that you can register for, as well as all the webinars you can view previous recordings. Today we're going to be talking about a very popular topic that I'm sure everybody in the tobacco industry knows about. It's the Retail Scan Data Incentive Programs. And this is just simply a report you can run in the FTx Director software that generates the required data according to their schematics and sends that to the FTP site that it's supposed to go to for them to review. Phillip Morris, they use IRI as their data review company, and both ITG and RJ Reynolds use MSA. So first, we're going to look at the actual setup within Director. So I'm going to go to Director here, and we're going to go to Pricebook, and we're going to look up an item and just look at some of the basic things you have to have first set up in order for your scan data to go through properly. All right, so looking up an item here, you want first and foremost to be using the correct UPC that's on the package. So you don't want to use a PLU in this case. You want to use the actual product barcode. Next, you want to make sure that the description has either pack or carton in it. You want it to be informative enough where they're not going to reject or question the data that's being sent. So have all the details of that particular product in the description. Next, you want to make sure that it includes the proper unit of measure, and that's going to be put in a different field, a different column of that particular scan data file that's sent to them, and that particular unit of measure is going to be under your tree information, under the secondary tab, under the product code. And of course, on those items, you want to make sure that, like for packs, it says pack. For carton, it says carton. Or your cans and rolls, it says cans and rolls. Now, depending on your rep, they may want you to change like the actual verbiage here. It could be PK for pack instead of PACK. Just make sure that you input that data appropriately to what they're recommending that you set that to. Now, of course, you can do that both on the individual item itself by navigating to this tree, but there's also a much more efficient way to do that through mass updates. In mass updates, look at that real fast. What you will do is you will first navigate to that particular categorization in your tree view. Now, this is where it's good to set up your items based on something that ties them together in their categorization in their tree fields. So notice on all my SIG full price items here, I've got a tree here that when I click on that, it's going to load up all my SIG full price items, both packs and cartons. And I can click on this little plus sign and you can see that it breaks down everything nice and cleanly. Now for details and best practices on setting this up, just review the Pricebook webinar. We go over that in detail. So going back to setting our unit of measure here, let's say that I want to set all my packs to that proper product code, that proper unit of measure. Instead of going item by item, I would want to use mass updates to make that fast. So I would just navigate to, like for example, my packs here. I know every item in this tree is going to be a pack. I can go to the field updates tab here. I can choose the product code field, and then I can just simply put in that new field text. And then whenever I choose that set field to set selected field of new text, it'll ask me to confirm that. I'll choose yes. That's automatically going to put all those packs with that product code in place. And then I can do that for all my other packs. I can go to my SIG generic, set that field, so on and so forth. I can do the same thing for my cartons too. I can go to my cartons, change that to carton, and then set that field for all my cartons. Much faster and much more efficient than doing that item by item. But both ways will work. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is you want to make sure that your link information is set up appropriately. So you have your items linked together, your packs tied to your cartons, and your cartons tied to your packs. So in this case, when I go to my link information here, we can actually see that I've got my carton in place here. And if I choose that purchase unit, it's immediately going to carry me to that carton. Now that I'm on the carton, I can choose the subunit hyperlink, and that carries me right back to my pack. Now to link items, it's one, you can watch that Pricebook webinar, the same one I mentioned earlier, that goes in all the details of linking items. But to do that, you just simply type the UPC in that particular field, the purchase unit field or the subunit field, press enter. If the item is found, it's going to automatically populate the description, and then you put in the link quantity. Now that link quantity here, that's always going to be the number of subunits in the purchase unit. So notice whenever no matter which item I'm on, the pack or the carton, it's going to say 10. So if I wanted to link an item to this particular pack, let's say that it had a unit of measure below the pack. We know it doesn't, but just to show you how this linking works, I would enter in the UPC and then press enter. Notice if the item is found, it's automatically going to populate that description. And then I would put in that number of subunits in this particular purchase unit. If the item isn't found, then I'm going to get a message saying that item is invalid. It's not found. If you don't know the UPC, there's actually a hidden search field. If you double click in that field, it brings up an item search. You can search by UPC, by description, or by vendor part. Whenever you find that item and you click on it and choose OK, it's going to then populate that description field. All right, so the next thing we want to look at, this is going to be for RJ Reynolds and ITG. They're specific, a field that the Altria report does not utilize. And under the additional info tab, there's going to be an area over here called RJR promo reporting. And basically, if you have a promotional pack, you would choose that, and you would put in that promotional amount. Now, even when you put in that promotional amount, it does not reduce the retail price of that product at the time of scanning in the POS. This is just strictly for reporting purposes. It doesn't affect the retail price in any way. So to show you how that would look, I'm going to look up an item here real fast that has that in place. This Marlboro red label. When I choose the additional info, notice it is a $1 off pack, promotional pack. I have that checked as on promo, and then I have that promotional amount as $1. That way, when this item is on the scan data report, if it's sold, it's going to basically flag this item in a separate column that is a promotional item, and that the promotional amount is, in this case, $1. Now, if it's a free item, you just simply choose that checkbox that it's a free item, and then that would report appropriately. All right, so that can also be adjusted via mass updates too. You just go to your mass updates field. You would go to your whatever filter you have for your promotional items. And then in that selected field, under your field updates, there is a RJ Reynolds promotional amount and promo. If it's on promo, you choose yes or no appropriately, and then you have the promotional amount. You just set that promotional amount field to whatever that value should be. So in this case, on these particular items here, I would just simply I would first filter to my packs. I would put that promotional value as 50 cents, and then on the promo field here, I would choose yes, that is a promote flag. Okay, so moving on, Buydowns. If you're not using the system for Buydowns, one, that makes it very simple to manage and report on your Buydowns. Please refer to that webinar on Buydowns for all the details for that. But if you're doing scan data, you have to do Buydowns and let the system handle that. So when you're looking at a buy down, it's going to report that buy down amount in its appropriate field in the scan data. However, they want, generally, when I say they, that's going to be MSA or IRI, they want that particular field named, this buy down named a particular description. And that's where you would choose this checkbox, show in retail report, and there's the retail report name. This buy down name here, this will be just on the fast track side. So whenever you're running your reports, you're going to see that particular buy down description. But on the scan data reports, it's going to report this particular description. And your representative will give you what they want each buy down to be named. I've got just a generic name here, Marlboro Pack VAP, that I've seen used in the past. But they're going to give you a name that you have to input here. Buy downs, like I said, they're a very simple thing to manage, and the system handles all the math when it comes to reducing the cost and the price on the POS. I would highly recommend you utilize these and watch that webinar to know all about the buy down details. All right, so moving on, system discounts. Now, once you have participated in scan data a bit, they're going to let you participate in higher tiers of the program. And that's where you can participate in a program like the Business Enhancement Funds and the Marlboro Loyalty and the Copenhagen Loyalty. These are programs that, of course, have to be reported on your scan data. So looking at our discounts here, I've got a Marlboro multi-pack set up that if I was a store owner, that I would be funding. And notice I've got this store funded here. That lets me know that I'm funding this discount. And it's just a simple buy 2, get 5 cents off. So every 2 packs that I purchase, I'm going to get 5 cents off. Now notice, I don't have this scan as manufacturer, basically flag as manufacturer in scan data, and I don't have this to require loyalty. That's because I'm funding this and I'm letting every customer that buys 2 packs receive this discount. I don't have a limit on this, and I don't have the or more set. So as long as they buy in sets of 2, they're going to receive 5 cents off. Now, looking at a manufacturer-funded discount, we're going to look at the Business Enhancement Funds. This is a buy 2 or more, get 25 cents off. Now notice I have this as flag as manufacturer in scan data checked. This means that it's going to be manufacturer funded, meaning that I'm going to get reimbursed on this discount whenever they pay out, which is generally at the end of the quarter. Now, under normal circumstances, with system discounts, they don't stack. So if I had the same item in multiple discounts, and I did not have both flag as manufacturer and scan data checked or required loyalty checked, then it's going to utilize whatever is the highest priority. It's not going to apply both discounts at the same time. However, if I have this flag as manufacturer and scan data checked, it will let the 2 discounts stack. And that brings us to the loyalty. The only difference between the business enhancement and the loyalty in this scenario is this checkbox, require loyalty. Notice it still has the flag as manufacturer and scan data checked. And then I have a limit per sale, meaning that this discount can only be applied basically limited 2 times in a transaction. Now, if these 2 are checked, the flag as manufacturer and scan data and require loyalty, and another discount has just the flag as manufacturer and scan data checked, and then one discount has nothing checked, then all 3 can technically fire on the same item. So let's take a look at that in the POS. To log in here. And I'm not going to do a loyalty transaction. I'm going to just ring up an item. There's a Marlboro pack. I'm going to do it one more time. When I hit subtotal, there's going to be 2 discounts that triggers. My store funded discount and my business enhancement fund discount. So I bought 2 packs. that store funded was for 10 cents or 5 cents each. There's my 10 cents total off the transaction. And my business enhancement fund was for 25 cents off each pack. I bought 2, so there's my 50 cents off. Now, this loyalty, of course, requires the loyalty customer to be added to the transaction. So whenever I add a loyalty transaction and I ring up those same items, I'm going to have one additional discount that gets added to the transaction. Now there's all 3. Now the difference in the loyalty is that I have this item limit per sale of 2 set, which means if I add one more Marlboro pack to that transaction, I'm not going to get another 50 cents off. My business enhancement fund increased, but not the loyalty. I can add one more and that will trigger the store funded discount. Notice it went up by another 10 cents because it's in sets of 2. My business enhancement fund went up again, but my loyalty stayed the same. That's because I have that limit set. Now, some R.J. Reynolds discounts, they want you to limit those discounts. And that brings us to these particular text boxes here. There is a daily limit, a weekly limit, and a total limit. The daily limit is exactly that. How many times can a loyalty customer take advantage of this discount? If I have this set to 1, that means that this discount can be triggered 1 time per day per customer. If I have that set to 2, then it's 2 times per day per customer. So that's how I can limit my loyalty discounts in a specific day. Then there's the weekly limit. Some discounts now are limited based on the week. So in this 7-day week period, how many times can this customer take advantage of that loyalty offer? It follows the same principle, except in a 24-hour period, it uses a week. And then that brings us to the total limit. That's going to be the total number of times that customer can take advantage of a discount between the start date and the stop date for this particular discount. If they hit that limit in 1 week, then for the rest of that time period, they can't receive that loyalty discount. It follows that same principle of limiting based on a time frame. So that's how the system discounts works. And there is, I believe, 2 different webinars on system discounts. I would recommend you guys watch that. That gives great information on setting up discounts and how those can function differently and how you can take advantage of those. All right, so let's now go to the point of sale. There's one setting on the point of sale that's going to be required. And whenever we go to our actions, our settings, and our settings, we'll go to the register settings, and there's going to be a prompt for item on manufacturer coupon. Anytime you're doing scan data, you want to make sure that that is turned on, that has a checkbox in place. What that will do is whenever you scan a manufacturer coupon in the point of sale, it's going to prompt what item is that coupon being applied to. Now, once again, coupons are scannable in the point of sale, so you always want to scan those, whether it be a mobile coupon or whether it be a paper coupon. But with this setting turned on, whenever you scan an item and then you scan the coupon, it's going to prompt you what item is that coupon being applied to. And the reason for that is going to be, let's say you have 2 different Marlboro packs on a transaction, and you scan one coupon for $1 off. Well, there's 2 packs on that single transaction. When the scan data report's being sent, if you didn't show what item that coupon is being applied to, then the scan data, depending on who you send it to, IRI or MSA, they're going to see that in that same transaction, there's 2 different prices for the same item, and that would flag a validation. When this setting is turned on, they're going to see that, yes, there's a price difference, but there was a coupon that was applied to one of those 2 items. Outside of that, that's really the only POS setting that's needed to be required. Now, one thing that was brought up, and it depends on your location, is for system discounts, can you discount the carton? Well, I've seen it both ways personally. I've seen where some areas you can discount them, you can have the carton tied to a system discount and scan the carton in the transaction, and sometimes you can't, depending on some areas. So first and foremost, for anything, you want to make sure you check and double check with your rep that if you can add cartons to discounts, that you'll be paid for that. That's very, very, very important. Don't want to do that incorrectly. If you can, then you would want to make sure that you tie cartons to the same discount as packs. The reason being is you don't want to over discount an item. You don't want to have two of the same loyalty discounts being triggered in the same transaction and then you not be paid for that. There's a simple way to manage that, and that's going to be the value of the item on the discount. So when I go back to my Marlboro pack here, and we go to manage discounts, there's a value field here. Think of that as a multiplier. 1 times, in this case, let's look at our store funded, 5 cents is of course 5 cents. So the packs you want to leave at a value of 1. 1 times 5 cents is 5 cents. So each pack is worth 5 cents. Cartons, on the other hand, they are, of course, 10 packs. So instead of having a value of 1, you want to have a value of 10 on the discount. So notice I have all these set for a value of 10. What that will do is whenever this item's on the transaction and that discount triggers, it's going to multiply that 5 cents by 10 because there's 10 packs in that carton, which of course would be 50 cents. So you can of course add this on the item itself and in mass updates whenever you're adding your items to a discount or the utilities area, there's going to be a value field here. By default, that's always 1, but in the case of you wanting to add an item with a higher weight for a discount in that transaction, you can alter that value. That way, with cartons and packs being in the same discount, you won't over discount an item if there's a limit set. Once again, I'm going to reiterate, make sure that you check with your rep before you ever put any kind of cartons in a discount, because depending on your area, you cannot do that. You would have to actually scan 10 packs instead of a carton. All right, so now let's go to the reports and let's look at where the scan data report actually lives. I'm going to go to my reports here. I'm going to go to my sales reports. I'm going to scroll down and look for that retail scan data incentive report. So on this screen, you have your drop down. You can choose your 3 different scan data reports. Depending on what's being sent, you can change these checkboxes. Your start date, stop date, that's of course the date range of the report being sent. You have your generate Phillip Morris data, your UST data, if you want to include loyalty transactions, if you want to generate and send all other manufacturer data, if you automatically want to FTP that file to IRI or MSA's FTP server, and then if that server requires the use of a security key. Now, your rep will give you a management account number. That's going to be very, very important to key in. And then you'll have to put in your chain name, whatever you go by on for your particular retail chain. They will also provide you an FTP upload folder. You need to make sure that that folder has got a slash, whatever the location would be, slash. So it could be upload. I've seen one called incoming. You just want to make sure that that is set appropriately. That's going to be where you upload that file to. Then you have the actual FTP site that will be provided to you by your rep. And then the username and password for your company for that particular FTP site. That, of course, lets Director log into that FTP site and send that scan data report. Next, you have your loyalty UPCs. Now, these will change from time to time. I've seen these change every quarter. What you have to do is whenever your rep gives you the new loyalty UPC, you input that loyalty UPC appropriately, and then you send your scan data report. Basically, anytime there is a loyalty transaction, that loyalty UPC is going to be flagged in that row on the scan data report. You want to make sure that, of course, it's correct. Otherwise, you're going to get a validation, and you're going to have to resend that file. Now, looking at the RJ Reynolds scan data, you have the same start date. You have the same stop date. You have the sequential file number. You have the create test file. That's for whenever you're validating your scan data getting approved. You have the use 34 column layout. That, of course, is now always going to be used because from 2019 forward, they're using a larger scan data format that includes more data. You have the divide multi-pack discounts. That depends on your rep if how they want that discount to be reported. Do you want it to show like one, if you have a system discount, let's say of 50 cents on 2 packs, you want it to show a quantity of 1 for that discount and 50 cents off, or do you want it to show 25 cents in 2? If you have the 25 cents in 2 that's needed, you would choose that checkbox to divide multi-pack discounts. You would want to auto flag the promo. Your outlet name, that's going to be your company name. You want to automatically FTP that file to the FTP server for MSA. If you do, you want to use that FTP helper. You have the FTP site name. Once again, that will be provided to you by your rep. The port number for that FTP site, that's also has to be provided. You have the FTP username and FTP password. And once again, that allows the director to log into that particular FTP server and then place the file. Then you have a SSH key. This can change from time to time. If your rep gives you a new key that's required, just simply choose that edit button and then update that SSH key and then save that. Then you would choose your departments that's going to be sent. So here, let's say that I wanted to send all my tobacco product departments. I would choose all my tobacco departments, add, and then I would hit that run report to generate the data. With Phillip Morris, the Altria scan data, it's going to generate based on the family code of the UPC. Unless you're doing the all other manufacturers checkbox, then you choose the selected departments and you choose departments you want to send to them. For RJ Reynolds, you have to choose the departments because they're going to get more data. Now, ITG also goes to the RJ Reynolds. It's the same RJ Reynolds format. It also goes to MSA. You can also get permission to where you don't have to send that same file twice. They can read both RJ Reynolds and ITG can read what's required off the same file set to MSA. All right, so that covers the scan data text box and check boxes here. Next, we want to look at what's required for your store information. And this is a very simple thing to set up that if you don't have set in place, you're automatically going to get rejected. That's where you go to maintenance, you go to stores, and under your store here, you want to make sure that you have the appropriate retail store name, you have your full address, city, the abbreviated state, your zip code, basically everything here filled out that you can. Now the IP address, fax, account code, payroll comp, and employment identifier, that doesn't need to be filled out. Just your address, city, state, zip, and phone. That's going to be required. And if you don't have that filled out, you're going to be rejected. All right, so that covers just about everything on the scan data side. If you follow this guide or documentation, you should be set, and you should have no problem at all getting approved. Once again, these webinars are a weekly event every Friday at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. You can see a list of these events if you go to our website, goftx.com. Choose the FTX Lifeline tab at the top of the page. Scroll down and choose the webinar button. And this page will allow you to see all the upcoming webinars to register for, all of our previous webinars, and then sign up for the newsletter to be notified of upcoming webinars. If you have any questions or concerns, let us know at websupport@fasttrackspos.com. And if you have any suggestions for future webinars, let us know at info@goftx.com. Thank you and have a great weekend.